An often asked question I get from people moving to Columbus is, what's the difference between living in the metro area versus living out in the suburb? If you're thinking about moving or relocating here, you might be asking yourself these same questions, or maybe you're doing a little bit of research on some of the areas. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the big differences between living in downtown Metro Columbus as opposed to living out in the suburbs. I'm going to talk a little bit about lifestyle, schools, housing, so you can get a really good idea on what might be right for you. And it all starts right now. So let's go! If you're new to my channel, my name is Mark Van Stein. I make videos about what it's like living in Columbus, Ohio. I cover things like the best schools, neighborhoods, areas, cost of living, and all things you need to know about Central Ohio. I try to give the viewers a really good idea on what it's like to live here. If you have any specific questions, drop them in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. And please hit that thumbs up button. It just lets YouTube know that Mark's doing a pretty good job. Are you trying to learn more about Central Ohio? Make sure you subscribe to the channel because I'm making new videos every week, not only about Columbus, but its many suburbs as well. Most importantly, if you're thinking about relocating or moving here, take a little stress out of your life and let me and my team help. I'm a full-time RE/MAX realtor and have been helping people move and relocate to Columbus for over the last 18 years. I'm actually a third-generation real estate agent. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I literally get people reaching out every week and I love to help. Columbus has some fantastic neighborhoods and suburbs, but it can get a little confusing knowing where to live, especially if you're not familiar with Central Ohio. Here are some of the big differences between living in one of the downtown metro areas and living out in the suburbs. Number one is lifestyle, and this one is pretty easy. Where are you at in what I like to say is your life's journey? Are you single or do you have a partner? Are you still looking for some excitement and energy of living in a downtown area? Or are you looking for something a little bit more slow-paced and quiet? Living in any of our metro neighborhoods, there's going to be some excitement and nightlife. I actually have a video on this channel where I break down 6 of the more popular downtown neighborhoods in Central Ohio, if living in an urban area seems like it might be more right for you. Living in any of these neighborhoods is going to be very similar to living in any urban area across the country. The suburbs are obviously going to be a little bit more quiet, slow-paced, and less congested. Number 2 are schools. If schools aren't important to you, then this might be completely irrelevant. But if you have school-aged children or children getting close to school age, then school districts are something that you're going to want to do a little bit of investigating. Columbus suburbs have many very good and highly ranked districts. There are 10 to 12 that get very good grades according to the state of Ohio's grading system. Unfortunately, these good school districts are going to play into the housing affordability. The top ranked school districts, the housing gets pretty expensive, but you know what? That's usually the trade-off. There are some districts that the schools are very good where the housing is a little bit more affordable. You just need to where to look. Unfortunately, most of the metro areas are in the Columbus School District, which across the board is a little bit challenged. Columbus does have some highly ranked elementary and middle schools throughout the district. You just have to do a little bit of digging. Next is going to be the type and size of housing. The city of Columbus was pretty much developed from the inside out. Much of the larger modern home construction is going to be a little bit further out in the suburbs. Homes that were originally built in the metro areas are going to be more in that late 1800, early 1900 vintage. There's definitely newer construction in some of the neighborhoods, Harrison West, Italian Village, the Arena District, just to name a few. When you buy a 120-year-old house, you have 120-year-old problems. Foundation issues, inefficient heating and cooling, plumbing, you name it. Older construction also doesn't have the open floor plans, large closets, and master bathrooms that today's buyer is looking for. There are some fantastic renovation of older homes in the metro areas, but you will definitely pay for it. My first home was in Clintonville and built in 1920. I absolutely love that house. The woodwork, the charm, the fantastic craftsmanship. But we had to move because my wife didn't have enough room for her clothes. Newer construction will have all the modern amenities as mentioned. It also comes at a higher price. New construction in the metro area is very expensive, but my clients feel the location is worth it. In most suburbs, you'll be able to buy more home for your dollar than the metro neighborhoods. This has a lot to do with availability and the cost of land. If open floor plans, large kitchens and baths are a necessity, then they're going to be much more available and affordable in the suburbs. Staying with housing, there's going to be a big difference between lot size. Most of the metro neighborhoods are high density with very limited yards. Houses in German Village, for example, have almost no yards. The lot size really depends on the size and location of the home. Some of the larger homes in Victorian Village have a bit of a yard, and even some of the homes in Harrison West. But please do not look for a half-an-acre lot. The builders in some of the new construction in Italian Village have actually gone vertical, building rooftop decks instead of the traditional ground level patios. The average lot size in the burbs is going to be between 0.2 and 0.4 of an acre in most planned communities. If you go outside the neighborhoods, you'll definitely find homes on more acreage. When the neighborhood was built and the age of the home are going to definitely come into play. Just because you're out in the burbs does not guarantee lot size. There's actually a Parade of Homes community right down the road from me in Powell that was built a few years ago, and I cannot believe the little size of these lots. I mean, they put these huge $1 million homes on these tiny little lots, but it's what the developer decided he needed to do based on the cost of the land. Next is parking. Unfortunately, if you live in Central Ohio, you're probably going to need a car. Public transportation is pretty good in the metro areas, but most people find having a car a necessity. Columbus is just that type of city. Having off-street or some kind of covered or garage parking if you live in the metro area is going to be a premium. Parking can become very difficult, especially in an area like German Village, where the streets are a little bit more narrow, with the homes close together. Obviously, when homes were built in these areas, cars really weren't a thing. Some of the homes have enough of a lot where garages were built after the fact, but like I said, it's a premium and that will come with a cost. In the suburbs, parking shouldn't be an issue. Most newer built homes are built with garages or at a minimum some sort of off-street parking. My first home had a one-car garage, which my wife and I used to share. She would get it half the year and I would get it half. Well, guess who got it in the wintertime? My morning routine in the winter was going out, starting and warming up my car, then spending the next 10 minutes scraping off ice off the windows. Spend a couple winters doing that, you'll come to appreciate covered parking. Staying with winter and cars, be aware of the snow removal in the different areas. The metro neighborhoods are primarily located in the city of Columbus. When we do get snow and ice storms, they are typically the last areas to get plowed. The main streets will get plowed pretty quickly, but it can take a while for the city to get to the side streets. When I lived in Clintonville, it would sometimes take a week for them to plow my road. The suburbs usually get it done a little bit more quickly. It makes sense because these municipalities are much smaller and have their own plows. The suburbs are also really good about dropping salt on the roads even before a storm comes through. Lastly is going to be noise. Living in any of our metro areas is going to be very similar to living in any urban area in any other part of the country. You're going to have the ambient street lights, the traffic noise, the fire engines, ambulances, everything you would expect living in a high density city. The suburbs will be much more quiet and there'll be more minimal light and noise. It really just comes down to what you're used to. When I used to live in New York City, I became accustomed to all the traffic noise and ambient light. I remember coming back to Columbus to stay with my parents. At night, trying to go to sleep, it being completely pitch dark, absolutely quiet, and being a little freaked out. I had just become accustomed to all the sounds of city life. All the quiet was very unnerving. Hopefully this video started to give you some clarity on what's going to be right for you when you move to Columbus, Ohio. If you have any questions about neighborhoods or suburbs, just drop them in the comments down below and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. If you found the video helpful, please give me a thumbs up down below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Most of all, if you're moving or relocating to Columbus, make sure you give me a call. Trying to navigate areas of Central Ohio you're unfamiliar with can be super stressful. You want to make sure you work with someone who is knowledgeable, experienced, and who make your life a little bit easier. You can call, text, email me. My contact information is at the end of the video and down below. Until next time.